My eyelids are heavy. I'm genuinely tired. Already had a fair share for the day. But I know that next bowl is only a light away. The pipe sits so nearby, staring me in the face. Eagerly contemplating taking a next hit, I reason to myself, just a little bit. The scent wafts up, and the smoke hits my throat. My mouth is dry, but now I'm fucking high.
Yes, I think that would about do it. I'll be watching you, of course, to make sure you do a good job. She nodded her agreement eagerly. And, I pointed at her for emphasis, you'll be naked. A long silence. She stared at me, eyes wide behind her glasses. I waited for her to protest, to plead with me, but instead the expression in her eyes gradually changed to a look of consideration. She seemed to be looking at me not as the guy behind the counter, but as a person, as a man. The faintest hint of a smile began to play around her lips. "Okay," she said softly, and pulled her tank top over her head. I was taken aback, first by the suddenness of her acquiescence, and then by the loveliness of her breasts as they appeared, nestled in a black brassiere from beneath her shirt. She tossed the shirt carelessly onto the counter in front of me. Then, after a glance at the door and window to be sure the shades were fully down, the brassiere was added to the heap. She stopped for a moment, standing with her arms at her sides and looking up at me with that same crooked little smile, as if gauging my reaction. Then she slowly bent forward, her breasts barely changing shape as she reached down to unfasten her shoes. She pulled them off, followed by her socks, leaving them on the floor in front of the counter before straightening up again. Somehow, in the middle of this, the sense of control seemed to have changed hands. I suddenly felt not as if she were doing what I had told her to do, but as if she had arranged the whole situation for her own pleasure and was enjoying making me stand there watching. This sensation was heightened when, holding my gaze, she unsnapped and unzipped her jeans, pushed them down over her hips and let them fall to the floor, where she stepped out of them and kicked them carelessly aside. Her panties were black as well, but with some sort of pattern that I couldn't make out from where I was standing. It looked sort of like big silver polka dots, but there was something odd about their shape. There was some kind of lettering as well, also indecipherable to me. She saw me staring at her panties, looked down, and then quickly back up and grinned sheepishly, looking embarrassed for the first time since she'd started taking her clothes off. She stepped up behind the counter and stood in front of me with her feet apart and her hands behind her back, giving me a closer look. It took me a moment to tear my eyes away from her breasts, now so fetchingly presented to me, but when I did look down, what I'd thought were polka dots resolved into a pattern of spaceships, specifically the Starship Enterprise, and the lettering, some sort of futuristic font printed in what appeared to be glow-in-the-dark yellow, formed a downward-pointing triangle just over her pubic region. It read, "To boldly go where no man has gone before."